Buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches. Donde sea que estés en este momento, esto es El Momento, and I am your host, Eleanor Orrillo. Welcome to episode 2 of our Hispanic Heritage Month series. Get ready to dive in, maybe even take a bite, of this week's topic as it is an essential ingredient to Hispanic culture. So, without further ado, let's get started. If you haven't guessed it already, today's episode of our Hispanic Heritage Month series is on Hispanic cuisine. A big part of Hispanic culture is food. If you're sad, you eat food. If you're happy, you eat food. If you're with family, you eat food. Food adds to the central focus of Hispanic culture, which is also the family. Food, family, and music is like the holy trinity of this culture. Today, we're talking about the first one, food. I want to start off by talking about a place that is near and dear to my heart, Peru. Aside from being the home to the best restaurant in the world as of July of last year, Peru has such a diverse array of cuisine options. From high dining to street food, you can taste so many different flavors. Which brings me to my first point I'm discussing cucharables. In English, that roughly translates to scoopables or spoonables. So I first heard about cucharables through a video report done by Latina Noticias. Basically, cucharables are the new it thing in Peru, and I don't disagree. A cucharable is a food served in a soup container, and it's a full meal. It's not like an appetizer or something, but the food that you would otherwise have served on the plate is prepared and moved into a cup. That way you can take it wherever you go. Now, I know it sounds silly, but when you think about it a little longer than you should, this has the potential to be the next food trend. The idea of moving your main dish into a smaller container, such as a soup bowl, is helping keep portion sizes in check. It's minimalistic, it's chic, it's diety. This has the format to be the next diet trend. But here's the funny thing when people finally realize that this could become a trend, they're not going to say it came from Peru. They're going to say it came from some chic niche restaurant in Europe. Why? Because of all the misconceptions about Hispanic cuisine that have been formed in Western culture. Now, I'm going to use a word people don't like cultural appropriation. Now, before you start losing your marbles, hear me out. Cultural appropriation doesn't mean you can't eat Hispanic cuisine unless you're Hispanic. That's a lie. Don't believe that. We want you to try our food, it's fantastic. But what's important is to erase those misconceptions about what you think Hispanic food actually is. Example A Taco Bell, Chipotle, and all those other major chains. Newsflash, not real Hispanic food. Shocker, I know. Now, I know I may be being a little extra harsh about this, but you have no idea how frustrating it is for people to believe that the only thing you eat is tacos and hot sauce. And as of lately, people's pets. All three, not true. The way I always illustrated this to people I knew was imagine if people thought that all Americans ate were hamburgers and chips. You'd be pretty upset too, right? Now, I'm not saying everyone instinctively needs to know how to distinguish real Mexican/slash Hispanic cuisine from that Tex Mex stuff, but this is where the cultural appropriation stuff comes in. Much like people say, my culture isn't your costume, this is me saying, my cuisine isn't your romanticized version of what you think real food is. I'm not blaming these consumers. If you've ever eaten from one of these chains before, I'm not calling you a sinner. I'm just saying that these companies are taking advantage of the lack of knowledge and are slapping the label of authentic Hispanic cuisine on anything they deem remotely close to the real thing. One of the other misconceptions that I saw when reading more about this topic is that most people believe that Latin American food is all greasy and fried. I can account for the fact that this is not 100% true. A lot of dishes have a vegetable base, but once again, that all comes back down to media representation and the perception of Latin cuisine by Western culture. It's like Cinco de Mayo, which is quite literally nothing more than a capitalistic Western holiday. Big words, I know. Cinco de Mayo was created by these corporations to sell this romanticized idea of Hispanic culture and cuisine. Yes, it does hold significance in Mexican culture, but it's actually not their Independence Day. It's a way these big chains can sell what they believe they are. And we eat it up like a Taco Bell $5 box when we should be pushing it away, like a Taco Bell $5 box. So, What can you do to combat this? Currently, not much. It's hard to take down corporations like this. Believe me, I try. But not all of this is doom and gloom. Literally, all I'm trying to say is expand your gastronomic horizons. Eat more real food. I know it's not always economically accessible or nearby, but try it. It leaves you searching for more. People in the Louisville area, I will 100% forever recommend Remy and Friends Fusion Food. FYI, not an ad. This is just me voicing yet another opinion. Remy is to die for. They have a Mexican Peruvian blend, and every single time we go there, I am left waiting for the next bite. My parents have to pry me away from the plate because it's just that good. Friends Fusion Food is a Peruvian food truck with authentic flavors. The simple action of trying the authentic flavors these cultures have to offer is enough. Don't buy into the ideals of these companies and individuals. We don't eat pets. We don't all eat tacos. Our blood isn't made of hot sauce. We're human beings with some goddamn delicious food. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you come back next week for another taste. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure to give us a like and subscribe, maybe even share this video. If you're listening to us on Spotify, make sure you answer the Q&A question below. As always, I'm your host, Eleanor Orrillo, and this has been El Momento. I'll see you next time.